Hi, we're going to do a quick Pilates kind of full body workout today with the focus on mobilizing your joints, getting that range of motion back to any stiff areas that you've got and strengthening again for any muscle strength that you've lost. So if you've been less active like myself in the last month or so, you're going to find that you're a lot stiffer than you were before. You're also a bit weaker and you're probably aching. So just use your body as a guide. For each exercise you're going to push as far as you can into resistance but stop short of pain. If you start to feel pain, let the body, that's the body's way of telling you it's a little bit uncomfortable. You'll find because of the nature of Pilates, you're going to be doing 10 to 20 reps at everything. So if you go to the point of resistance for the first few reps, that point of resistance might increase for the last 5 reps or so, because the stretch receptors in your muscles will adapt and realize they're not going to cause pain, and that's how you're going to make those long-term changes back to where you were and even progressing onwards. Same with the strengthening. Each exercise is going to have different variations. There's going to be a harder version, a medium version and an easier version. So again, your body is the guide. See where you're at. If you're able to keep good control of the pelvic area, abs engagement, and also breathe throughout the exercise, it's right for you. If you feel it's a bit easy, you could carry on and do 100 of them. That's too easy. You're going to try the harder version. If you find you can only do 5 or 6 of the hard version, that's also fine. Do those 5 or 6, then regress and finish off a set of 20 with the slightly easier version. Next time you come to do it, try and add a few more of the harder reps. Okay, so we're going to start with a warm-up, just to get the blood flowing into the muscles before you start the activity, mobilize the joints and get things moving. So it's like some high knee, so you're marching on the spot basically. Knee up, get the blood flowing. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds to a minute. Should feel no pain at this point. Little added bonus, if you think about just crunching your stomach slightly, get used to turning on those transverse abdominals and the lower abs and the pelvic floor. You start to feel looser, your knees are coming higher. On the side, you see, I'm keeping a nice neutral spine because my abs are engaged, so I'm not dipping down into it. From there, we're going to do those classic footballer warm-ups, knee up, external rotation of the hip. This can cause some discomfort depending on if you've got any impingement going on or things going on in a joint, in which case don't come as high. You can still do the rotations from here, or you can do another classic footballer warm-up, coming across the body out to the side. You might need to hold on to something for balance if you don't have as big feet as me. So up and out. You really should feel this in the groin, those inner thigh muscles. Which likely been, if you've been sat at a desk for a long time now, it's likely to be very stiff. You might feel a bit of minor discomfort with this. Don't worry, as long as it's not causing any major discomfort. Now we're going to mobilise the upper body a little bit. So just side to side, arms straight out. Open up the upper back, all those facet joints, the muscles around your back, shoulder blades. If you've been sat like this for a period of time, they're going to have stiffened up, especially if you're used to being a bit more mobile. Charlie's Angel style, like you're holding a gun. Keep your hips fixed so your pelvis is straight. Out to the side and pause. 1, 2, 3. Back. Out to the other side. 1, 2, 3. Likely you'll find a discrepancy. You're able to get further one way than the other. That will improve over time. So just out. Forward. When you feel like you're loosened up a bit there, as long as there's no pain, don't push into pain with that one. We're going to open up the arms. So make sure you're not going to hit your lights. Arm circles clockwise. Back the way you came. As you really feel this open up your chest, your neck. You can also do some neck circles. Anywhere that feels stiff, just opening it up. Preparing. Don't overthink the warm-ups. You're just preparing yourself for exercise really. When you feel like you've done enough of that, we're going to start some strengthening, although it's half strengthening, half warm-up still. Classic reformer Pilates style you'll be very familiar with. We're going to do squats. So it's like you're laying down on your back on the Pilates reformer. So you're going to go hip width apart with your feet. Slight external rotation so your toes pointing outwards ever so slightly. As you squat down, you're going to keep your knees turned outwards. So don't let them fall inwards. Your range is your range. Don't try to get all the way down if you're feeling restriction. Also, what's important to note, the depth of the squat comes from where your hips are, not from where your head is. So this is not a deeper squat. This is a deeper squat. So let your body be the guide. Any pain in the hip, restrictions in the quads, etc., especially the calf. If you feel your calf, your heel starting to lift, it means it's too tight on your calf. So just, you're going to go down as far as you can. Hip width, external rotate, drop down. We're just going up and down for 10 reps. 2, 3, 4. So what I'm trying to do is keep my upper body nice and upright. The curve in my back maintains neutral. I'm not going to accentuate that by leaning forward. I'm also not going to round my back here. Down, out. When you've done 10 of those, we're going to do the ballet 1 position. So the heels are now together and the knees are turned outwards. You're going to have much less range here. What you'll find is tension in the calf is going to really prevent you being able to drop down without leaning forward. You might not get much movement at all, that's fine. Do stop if there's too much pain in your knee. Again, knees over toes, so you're turning knees outwards and you're plieing down, bleed it down and up. Again, look at my back, I'm not leaning forward. You can see I'm very stiff in the calves at the moment. Again, 10 of these. Don't forget to coordinate your breath. You can see trying to talk and an exercise does affect your breathing. So we concentrate, deep breath in as you come back up. So in as you drop down. So pause, breath out. Once you've done 10 of those, ballet position 2, slightly wider than hip width. Again, externally rotate those knees, externally rotate the feet. Dropping down nice and deep as you can. You feel a bit of a stretch in the groin here. Back up. Body upright still. Bottom low. If you can get your bottom lower than your hips, perfect. Don't worry if you can't. This is your range, that's your range. You're not going to increase the squat by bending forward like this. Now, it's okay, should feel a bit of a burn in your quads, hopefully your glutes too. You're just trying to wake them up, prepare them for exercise. Once you've done 10, we're moving on to get the calf and the ankle mobility. Heel raises. So try to take 3 seconds to come up and 3 seconds to lower down. Don't worry too much if you're dropping down. You'll improve with time. Another thing to look at is if you can keep that neutral alignment of your foot. If you're struggling, you're going to find your feet open and outwards. So the heels is a good point of reference for that. Try and stay as aligned as possible. If that's too easy for you, try a single leg one. Hold on for balance if needed, not to a TV, but you're going to go up and down. You're going to get a total of 10, whether 10 single legs each side or 20 double legs. Should feel it in that big bulky part of your calf, also around your ankle. So once you've done your 20 total reps, be it 10 per leg, 20 both legs or a combination of the two. We've finished our warm-ups and we're going to move on to our first actual Pilates exercises. We're going to start in the prone position. So knees under hips, and you're going to have your wrists just slightly further forward than your shoulders. What's important here is to not allow your shoulders to come up towards your ears. You want to engage your shoulder blade muscles or scapular muscles, back and down slightly, just so you feel a bit of tension here, as well as drawing your core up. So imagine there's a fire beneath you. You're just drawing the belly slowly up, trying to come towards the ceiling, and you can feel those muscles engage. You want to find a neutral spine, so not arching too much. That's neutral, that's the position we're going to be coming to for the most part. But from here, we're going to do some spinal mobility first of all. So cat camel classic. As you drop down into the camel position, your head is going to come up. Hold for a couple of seconds. Head comes down. Up you come. Now I'm feeling very stiff here. Usually you get a much finer arch. what the most important thing to think about is that you're going one vertebra at a time. You're not just drop in, you're going one, slow, controlled. Head tucks down, chin towards chest. On the way down, head up, open up the spine. Remember, keep the shoulders away from the ears. Breathe. Deep, continuous breath. So throughout one movement, you can pick. As you're coming up, you're going to breathe the full duration of that movement. So as I'm pushing down, and again, we're going to do a total of 20 of those. So take your time, do them right, let your body be the guide. If you're starting to feel some pain in the back, either as you extend the lumbar spine, stop short of that, don't go into pain. Same with the flexion. If you've got any disc issues, flexing that lumbar spine could aggravate. So don't worry too much about it, but just stop short of pain. Tuck in the pelvis as you come back down. Your range will be unique to you at this point, and hopefully it'll progress over the 20 reps, and certainly the more often you do these. Snakes are the next exercise. Let's just get in a little bit of side flexion. So from here, in neutral position as we lined up, you're going to dip head and shoulders. So the hip and the head goes to one direction, and you make that bend, a sort of C bend, scoliosis from side to side. Don't overthink these. Again, any pain, stop short of it. It's just trying to get some side flexion to open up those facet joints a bit more, which you probably got stiff. Do 10 each side, and we're going to move on to our first actual strengthening exercise. This is going to be laying on your front, and you're going to engage the shoulder blade muscles. So shape of a W with your arms, like you're doing the YMCA, but into the W. Keep your shoulder blades pinned back and down. And you're going to lift up, squeezing those shoulder blades. Hold for 5 seconds and drop down. If you want to increase that a little bit, lift your head off the surface. Again, any discomfort in your neck, just drop back down again. You should feel the effort in and around your shoulder blades, in between your shoulder blades, ideally. If you start to feel too much pain here, play around with your hand position, find something that's comfortable. So if it's say if my arm is here, I'm feeling excess pain in the shoulder joint itself, and I can relieve it by doing this, that's fine. Once you've done 10 of those, you're going to open up into a T position or a crucifix position. So you've got a more long lever, so the same muscles are working to engage, but they're under a bit more pressure because your arm is basically heavier for it, giving it a mechanical disadvantage, like trying to hold weight in front of you rather than holding it close to your chest. So same thing, head down, shoulder blades back and down, engage, lifting your arms up, pause for 5 seconds, slowly down. To increase, lift the head and top of your chest up, same movements. If you feel that you're coming towards your ears, go back down. Once you've done 10 reps of 5-second holds, again that's enough. Stop if there's any pain. It's not an essential exercise, it's just something to engage those back muscles if you don't have the use of TheraBands. From here we're going to do another mobilizing for that upper and lower back, cobras. So you're holding here, keep your hip, pelvis flat to the ground, curving up, extension of the lumbar spine. You're going to pause for 5 seconds. There's going to be 5 of these. This is just a basic version to ensure that before you push it further, you haven't got any pain in the lower spine. Back and down, so you drop down, roll up, hold for 5 seconds, back down. Just do 5 of those. The main exercise is to push up from this position, palms down, extension, deeper stretch, more opening of the facet joints of the spinous processes in the lumbar spine, back down to the elbows. Again, 5 seconds of these, 5 reps of 5-second holds. Once you've done, we're going to come back into that starting position. Knees under hips, arms under shoulders. Find neutral spine, so play around if you feel comfortable. If you've got use of a mirror, even better, but what you want is to not feel too much pressure in your back. You want to be able to engage your abs. From here, we're going to do donkey kicks. Remember, shoulder blades back and down still. And you're going to kick outwards while trying to keep the pelvis as aligned as possible. So what you don't want is to hitch and rotate the spine to try and get more range. Shorter range is probably better as long as it's controlled range. Kicking out, and you're going to do 10 each side. Breathing out as you extend the leg. In as you return the knee. Abs should be engaged the whole time. You should feel this not just your lower ab, but also a little bit on your obliques as you're trying to stabilize your pelvis and stop it rotating. Out. It's okay to lose the neutrality of your spine slightly as you extend. Always try to come back into the neutral pelvis position before you start the rep. Keep your abs engaged to control it as much as possible and think about your range. Then 10 from the other side. See, I'm finding it a little bit harder on this side for some reason, and I'm not controlling my pelvis spine as much as possible. You'll probably find that yourself, one side compared to the other. Don't worry, just reset, engage, control the movement. You don't have to go as far. You can progress that over time. The last 10 each side is going to be more of a bent knee donkey kick to isolate the glute more than the hamstring. So the last one you should have felt a bit in the glute, down the hamstring towards the knee. This one you should really isolate that glute, but not in the back. Same position, bend the knee, and you're going up. You're going to definitely lose your neutral spine at this point, don't worry too much. It's more about keeping the abs engaged and engaging the glutes as you come up. So squeeze that bottom, hold for 2 seconds, back down. Squeeze the bottom, back down. Remember, breath, so this exhale with exertion, so as you're kicking upwards, continuous long deep breath. So deep breath in before you start. As you kick out. When you've done 10 one side, you're going to do 10 on the other side. Important about your neck position. Remember, keep those shoulders away from your ears. If you feel them rising, just stop and reset. Keep the chin tucked ever so slightly towards your chest. Don't arch it. Don't put any pressure in the back of your neck. Solid throughout your stomach. What you want to avoid, rotating at the hip again, so you don't want to be doing this. And then once you've done 10 each side, you've done 20 total reps per leg. By the time you've done this, straight legs kick out and a donkey legs kick up. We can do a quick set of hydrants, or dog peas as they're known by Sarah, just to engage that glute med that we're going to use a little bit later. Shouldn't feel effortful at all here, really, it's just activation work. So from that position, imagine you're a dog, fire hydrant here, you just cock, or tree, you're just cocking your legs slightly, trying to avoid that rotation, keeping everything neutral and engaged. Just gentle movements, you don't have to worry about pausing. If you want to make it more challenging, you can hold the leg in the position for 3 seconds, just for the isometric contraction. But don't worry if you can't manage that. Up and down is fine, just mobility and activation. But again, if you want to pause, try not to feel too much pressure through here. You want to feel it in your core. If you feel like you're excessively compensating with your upper body, reset and start again. Once you've done 10 that side, we're going to do 10 the opposite side. So, from here. And if you look at my spine, as I'm using the opposite leg, you just see here, I'm trying to keep this bit as neutral as possible. So what I'm not doing is compensating through here. Upper body should stay still. Pelvis should stay as still as possible at the lower back. Okay, 10 each side. Pausing if you can, don't worry if you can't. It's really just to prepare you for the sideline work we're going to do later. From here, we're going to go into our Supermans. A little bit more challenging. Knees stay down, same position. You're going to want your palms slightly further forward than your shoulders at this point, but you're going to keep your shoulders retracted away from your ears. Chin ever so slightly tucked towards your chest. We're going to practice going from 4 points of support, or 6 points if you include your toes, to taking one away. So arms out first of all, you're just practicing shifting your weight side to side. This is just preparation for all the exercise, and see that you can do the same with your legs. Then we're going to combine the two. Take your time, concentrate, keep engaged, don't let yourself rotate. So you're going to go right arm forward, left leg backwards. So it's that position. Just pause. 1, 2, slowly back down. Then the opposite, left arm forward, right arm backwards. The combination of the two is 1 rep. You're going to do 10 of those. So, don't forget that 2-second pause. Important to keep your abs and your obliques engaged. If you feel yourself losing that spinal position, you're probably going to shorten the range. It's okay to just do this, or even just this. From wherever you are, build up. And that neutral spine, abs engaged, don't lose that ab engagement. Okay, so carry on until you've done 10 each side. Then the next movement is going to be a 4-point plank, or a quad plank. So same position as before. All you're going to do is keep your, as long as you haven't got toe problems, keep your toes bent up that way. You're just going to lift your knees up about 2 centimeters from the floor, a bit here, 2 inches. Engaging your abs. So we want to feel all the pressure in your abs, not in your back at this point. We're going to hold for 5 seconds. I'm going to do 10 of those. So breathe out as you lift up. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly lower down. Your spine should stay relatively neutral. You're not arching. If you arch your back here, you're using your erector spinae muscles to really hold you in place. You're lengthening your abs, put them at a disadvantage. They're not going to work as hard. So find that neutral spine before you lift off. Neutral spine, abs engaged. Lift up. 5-second pause. Slowly lower down. Reset. Deep breaths in and out. 10 of those. If you're feeling that's quite easy, the next move is to combine the Supermans with that a little bit. So you're going to go round in a clock first of all. So from the lifted position, you're going to try and reduce the base of support throughout. So the first one would be leg up, like you're marching. More difficult is to release the hand. So you'll probably find that most of your weight is resting on your hand. As you get stronger, that won't be the case. You should be able to lift a hand without too much movement as you transfer your weight from side to side. You want to keep your weight as neutral, as near to the midline as possible. So when you lift, you're not compensating too much. As you see, I am pretty much. But before this, I was able to do that a little bit more effectively. So you can see how the body responds to what you do and don't do to it. So the more you practice these, the better you'll get at them. Equally, the less you do of them, as you can see, the more deconditioned you get. So I'm going to attempt combining it into a Superman now. So seeing as you're all super fit athletes compared to me at the moment, don't do what I do what I say. So from here, 2 second engage, you're going to lift the right hand and left leg at the same time into this position, and then switch. Now, a lot more challenging than it was before we started this COVID break, and I've been a bit ill, as you know, but if you can do those, great. If not, just go back to the general ones, or do as I did, a couple of reps and then regress until you've done the full 10 sets with the 5-second hold. For those more progressed ones, don't worry about the hold. If you can do them, great. If not, just in and out, and your range will be dictated by your strength, by your cardiovascular ability, and your balance. Next movement will be mountain climbers. Now, I should have said earlier, if you do have wrist issues, as long as you don't have any carpal tunnel, recent fractures or sprains, It's just like hypermobility. If it feels uncomfortable, it's okay to do these still on the wrist. You might want to take more breaks in between. Alternative hand movements or hand positions onto your fist provides a more straight joint, a more aligned joint. That might be more comfortable for you. Equally, from that position, just take breaks. Don't worry, it will be the time under tension of that, the time under compression that causes discomfort. So just in between reps, if you're here, if you're starting to feel a bit of discomfort, come away, rotate the wrist, stretch the wrist into extension, stretch the wrist into flexion, go again. Or do less reps today until you condition that wrist a little bit more to take in your load. Alternatively, now we're going to do the mountain climbers. This is a good option for those of you that do have wrist pain. When you're bearing your weight through your wrist, you can come into an elbow position, so you can do them here. I prefer for range, so you're less likely to put your back into a flex position if you're up into the 4 point with your arms extended, but you can do that as an option. So from here, 15 each side. You're also going to think, as you breathe in out to bring your knee in, you're crunching your stomach, you're trying to engage. So it's a bit like a crunch from altar position to really engage in those lower abs. That position, so breathe out and crunch. Out and crunch. Remember again, shoulders away from the ears. If you feel them creeping forward, reset. Make sure they're engaged here. Make sure your abs are engaged. If you need to, onto your elbows. But as you see, my bottom likely comes up and my back goes into flexion. So if you can do them on straight arms, that is better. Once you've done 10 to 15 each leg, we're going to add some abduction into that. So from there, it's out and in. And out and in. Really focus on engaging the abs, so it's an abdominal crunch as well as a hip flexion. If you're not really focused on that, if you're just hanging off your back muscles, all you're really doing here is using the sartorius, your quads to an extent, and your hip flexors, which we're not really trying to train. We're trying to train the core stability exercise muscles. So it's abduction, glute med engages, out and forward, crunch. Again, just 10 of those each side. So 10 to 15 is the first variation per leg, 10 to 10 each leg for that one.